Yes. Completionism. I have earned blue ribbons for over 35 games on Steam, and I wanted to know if there were any major trends between these games. I also wanted to compare them to games where I got close but not quite all the way to the 100% mark. And to do this, I made a lot of graphs. Hello everyone, my name is Glacy, and this is a video about achievement hunting, the sunk cost fallacy, and a handful of interesting numbers. Before we get too deep into things, I'd like to define some terms so that we're all on the same page. When you own a game on Steam, it can have Steam achievements. If you get all of the achievements for a game, the game's icon gets a little blue bar and a ribbon on it. Otherwise, it's a sad gray box. I will be comparing blue ribbon games with my close but not quite games, the ones that got stuck between 50 and 99% achievements complete. Between these games, I want to look at a handful of different traits in order to compare and contrast a few things. Objectively speaking, aka not messed with by my own opinions, we have the total number of achievements to collect, the hours it took to get them all, the price without it being on sale, whether it exists as part of a franchise, whether it requires co-op, if I kept playing it after getting all the achievements, and whether paid DLC was required for all the achievements. From a subjective perspective, which is surprisingly fun to say, we have a rating of if the achievement collecting process differed greatly from the standard gameplay, two of the game's approximate genres, and the overall gameplay flow. To explain all that a bit, here is one of the blue ribbon games I randomly selected for an example, Monument Valley. For the objective features, we've got 19 total achievements, 2.8 hours played, a price of $8 US. It has a sequel, which continues the story, no co-op required, and no paid DLC required. Subjectively, the achievements equaling normal gameplay is a 1 out of 5, which means that by just playing and beating the game, one would get all of the achievements. I made the scale, I classified all the games, that's why it's in the subjective category. Same with the genres, I didn't want to do every single Steam-tagged genre. That's a waste of graph space. I gave Monument Valley the primary genre of puzzle, as in the way the player interacts with the game is a very puzzle game, and the secondary genre atmospheric because it's all vibes. Also, the flow of gameplay is, to me, level-based. I collected the numbers and assigned the categories for every blue ribbon game and every 50 to 99% complete game, and I organized all of that on spreadsheets that are linked in the description. Also, this video took forever to make, don't at me. I'm doing all of this. Why? Well, because I want to know if there are any interesting patterns connecting the games I've gotten every achievement for versus the ones I only got over half. I want to know if there's trends. I want to know if there's trend breakers. I just want to know more things overall. However, can I dare hope to say a genre or a time commitment or another factor will guarantee a location of a game in one category or another? Absolutely not. This was not a scientific experiment. We can't dare claim causation. One of the groups is 60-ish% bigger than the other. Nothing about this is scientific. This is all silly times with numbers and graphs. We're here to see if there's any weird, interesting patterns in the games I fully complete, because I want to. Speaking of graphs, it is graphs time! Overall conclusions will be at the end of graphs time. The total number of achievements, both graphs have a tail tugging their averages to the right, also known as a right skew. Our blue ribbon category is a mean around 24, and our close but not quite category is a mean around 53. Technically, it doesn't make any sense to calculate or interpret a 95% confidence interval for any of this. If we were to do so, we'd get this 95% confidence interval for this mean, and this 95% confidence interval for this mean. And since they don't overlap, we could be more confident to say these two means are not equal to each other. However, none of this is really scientific, so I could just say that 53 is a bit bigger than 24 and leave it at that. Here's a neat comparison that only applies to the 50 to 99% category. The average difference between all of the achievements in a game and the achievements I actually have was about 12, which I thought was interesting. For the hours to get a ribbon, we've got another beautiful right skew. This one's from Celeste, but also other outliers up in here. Unfortunately, Steam can be kind of weird about hours played sometimes. And also, back in 2021, I wasn't caring about this stuff, and I didn't document the amount of hours I had at moment of completion. So some of the values on this graph are unfortunately estimates. Oh well. At least I didn't have to estimate these ones, the hours I currently have in all of the 50 to 99% complete games. I can say with confidence, are really big, and also really spread out. Especially compared to the blue ribbon games, which had most of their time commitments under 10 hours each. For prices, we have some interesting histograms that reflect the typical amounts smaller dev teams tend to price their games at. It's $20. It's $20. I play a lot of $20 games. Of course, there are games worth more and worth less, especially some zeros over here and a 60 over here and some 40s around the place as well. But look at all the $20 games. Okay, we've looked at them long enough. Let's move on. For franchise memberships, sometimes games have sequels, sometimes they have extended universes, sometimes they stand all on their own, sometimes they are sequels. Most of the games in the Blue Ribbon category are in the alone bucket, but for the 50 to 99% zone, we've actually got a surprising split going on. We've got more sequels are continuations or games that are the sequels compared to the games that are alone. This, I expect, is also part of the sample size deal. Here's those same graphs as pie charts, in case that's easier for you to read. For the presence or absence of multiplayer, most games in both categories are single-player exclusive experiences. However, it is important for me to add that there are some games in both of these categories that are called SIB games here. They are single-player exclusive games of how you play them, but you can play games kind of like reading a book in a book club, where everybody has their own copy and you all play through it together. I like to play games in parallel with my friends and family. Usually it's my siblings, which is why these tend to be SIB games, as you can see. Mechanically, all of the SIB games go in here and go in here. But my experience playing the SIB games is completely inseparable from the fact that I played them in parallel with other people in my life. Playing more after getting the ribbon is how one of my siblings marks a really good game. So here you go. This is the graph for that. It's about 1/3 yes and 2/3 no. So these two graphs make me upset because I've had instances where a game gave me a ribbon and let me keep it despite not owning the DLCs and therefore being unable to get the DLC's achievements. And sometimes that wasn't the case. It's weird. And it bothers me, and it makes these graphs have maybe columns, which is low-key, high-key infuriating. Anyway, most of these don't need or even have paid DLCs that affect the Steam achievements, but sometimes things happen with a handful of them, and it makes me upset. As we enter Subjective Graph Town, here are the rules I made for myself when establishing these categorizations. Feel free to pause and read them if you want. I'll explain them as we go. Starting with how far out of the way the achievements were to get, we have perhaps some of the most self-evident graphs in the history of the universe. One could even argue that the Blue Ribbon graph is just how most games structure their achievements. If you have to go out of your way a lot to get them all, it's gonna take more time. It's only gonna feel worth it if you really like the game, and if you didn't have to do any of that, you probably got the ribbon already. Wow! Here's the pie chart version as well, so you can see the percentages if you would like. And also, you can see that for the Blue Ribbon games, exactly half are 1s and 2s, and halves are 3s to 5s. Which basically means that the hardest achievements for half of the Blue Ribbon games were for finding all the shiny rocks, or whatever the game's equivalent of that would be. Isn't that neat? Now for the primary genre label, which is the genre I think about first when I think about these games. Look at all the puzzle games. If you count detective games as puzzle games, that's over half of the games I have gotten Blue Ribbons for. Can you guess what kinds of games I like to play and to complete? Yes, you can. Here you can see the other games I tend to play a lot of. Roguey games! They're way harder to get a ribbon for, because of many factors that we'll get into later, but I still really like them, so I still play a lot of them. Also, here we have listed out all of the primary genres that are unique to either category. You might find the list interesting. Now, for the secondary genres, there's definitely more variety, but still lots of atmospheric-y, vibey games, because at the surprise of no one, I like those. And for the 50 to 99% zone, we've got lots of action and combat and the like. There are also more genres that are unique to one category or another. And here is the primary and secondary genre combined graph for the Blue Ribbon games, which is still a lot of puzzle games. And here it is for the 50 to 99% graph. I made these two graphs to remove the primary-secondary split, because to me, that added even more subjectivity to an already very subjective category. However, a single genre was simply not enough, which is why the split exists in the first place. Lastly, we have the gameplay flow. For the Blue Ribbon games, it's a lot more level and chapter, with 0 run-based games. And the 50 to 99% games are a bit more evenly spread, but with lots of run-based games as well, and 0 one-sitting tiny games. This is in the subjective category because the level versus chapter distinction, I feel like, might only exist in my brain, and some people's one-sitting marker can be in a different place. And that's what all the graphs look like! Yay! Now let's move on to explaining what all of that probably means. Comparing the Blue Ribbon games to the Close But Not Quite games, games I have gotten a Blue Ribbon for tend to have less achievements, take less time, cost about the same, or less, or even 0, be single-player exclusive, not require paid DLC, have achievements that are more in line with typical gameplay, are puzzly games, and follow a levels or chapter-based flow. The franchise membership aspect and the if I kept playing bit don't appear to be that relevant, although there are more sequels in the other zone. If we take the averages from the graphs, an average Blue Ribbon game would look something like this, and an average 50 to 99% game would look something like this. The most interesting thing to me is the achievement totals, which I haven't really thought about much until being able to look at them side by side. Before doing this, I thought the exact number wasn't going to be a factor, as there's a lot of variety in the amount of total achievements I see for games. I just thought it was neat. Now, I asked some questions earlier, and we have some answers for them. Patterns, yes. Reasons, also yes. Outliers and exceptions to the reasons in the patterns? Yeah. Necessary to spend 6 months working on this? Not gonna lie. Yes. This was actually really fun when I wasn't stuck on the first 2 drafts trying to figure out why I didn't like them, and completely redoing the subjective graphs and wrangling with Google Sheets to let me format anything. This probably shouldn't have been fun, but it was, for me, and I'm glad I did it. So I still win. Now, since we all know that numbers are a lie and gaming is the true joy of the universe, let's shelve all the graphs and instead celebrate each and every one of the data points as the experiences they are. AKA, I'm gonna talk about all 62 games that I threw in these spreadsheets because they deserve it. Spoilers will be kept at a minimum so as not to ruin the game experiences for any of you if you want to play any of these games yourself, whether or not you're interested in achievement hunting to any degree. We will be starting with the Blue Ribbon games, and we're going to go in chronological order that I got the ribbon in, not in game release. Ta-da! Alright, starting with the very first, Celeste. Celeste is a game about climbing a mountain. It is also probably my favorite game of all time. It arrived in my life right when it needed to, and it's my comfort game through and through. Celeste is also notable for being the first Blue Ribbon I ever got, because it was also the reason I learned that Blue Ribbons were a thing. So, that's interesting. If you're looking for a 2D platformer and or a story to rip your soul open, and you haven't played Celeste before, I highly recommend it. The game has a customizable assist mode if you want it or need it. And because the achievement hunting desire hadn't quite consumed my brain yet, we're already in 2022 with Escape Simulator. This is an escape room simulator. Yeah, that's it. I like escape rooms a lot, especially escape room video games, and while I haven't played the sequel to this one yet, I do plan to. The first-person camera has some settings that I desperately needed to change in order to not get motion sick, but otherwise the control scheme is very user-friendly. Also, this game doesn't require co-op, but it is better with friends, and one of my siblings and I did spend an afternoon together grinding out the last of the achievements for this one. If you like escape rooms, you'll probably like both this game and its sequel. And now things start to kick off a bit. We have one of the cutest games on this list, Fight Me. Cats in Time is a level-based puzzle game, and each level is like a puzzle dollhouse, and you save cats from time travel shenanigans. It's so cute. There were some surprisingly well-hidden little secrets as well. This game was surprisingly more than I expected it to be, although it was far easier than some of the other games on this list. Simple and cute games are great too. Fun fact, I didn't know this game had the same devs as Escape Simulator until I recognized the smashing a pot animation, and I had to look it up immediately. You might like this game if you like cute little point-and-click puzzle games and/or saving cats. Next up, we have Agent A, A Puzzle in Disguise. A point-and-click puzzle adventure game that's super silly spy antics top to bottom. It's charming, and it's ridiculous. This game also has a special place in my brain because while I hadn't started making YouTube videos yet, this was one of the games I used to practice commentating and learning how to use OBS. That footage is long deleted, and most of it didn't have working audio or video or both. But without the experience, I wouldn't be here making this video. So I'm glad this was my trial run. You might like this game if you like silly noir spy antics, up to and including a phone in a shoe. And what's this? Another point-and-click adventure game? I am not a creature of many surprises in 2023, at least not yet. This game is very Renaissance and just a little time travel, and you solve puzzles with Da Vinci-style inventions. But this might have been a me problem, but I could not see anything when I played this game. I have distinct memories of not knowing how to progress because what I needed was hidden in extreme shadows, and I had to Google something that I just needed to click on that I just couldn't see. That might have been me or my computer or both, but I figured I'd just lay that out on the table. If you like cool Da Vinci tech and point-and-click puzzle games, you might like this game. And also apparently has like 3 or 4 sequels, so you might like those too. And now for something completely different. Opus Magnum is the only Zachtronics game I have ever played. You build these tiny little machines and you code them with little blocks on a timeline. I don't know if there's a word for it, but it's like coding those cute little Lego robots. Anyone remember those? But instead of Lego robots, it's a tiny factory floor doing alchemy on a hexagon grid. It's great. This game has 5 achievements, and one of them is to beat 100 boards of the side solitaire mode that I've been told is a Zachtronics staple. I really like the solitaire mode, so this was not a hassle for me at all. Play this game for the machine puzzles though, not the solitaire. And now for Tunic. This marks the start of my YouTube Let's Plays, which for the purposes of this project just means there's a special type of bias from how I played these games. I don't pre-record a backlog. So I play in episode-long bursts of recording time, no more than once a week, and then I spend a bunch of time editing them, and don't forget I do all of my Let's Play games as blind as I can. This little caveat I just gave applies to every Let's Play game. That being said, Tunic is incredible. You play as a tiny fox on a big mysterious adventure. It's a Metroidvania, if you will, which means I recommend going in as blind as you can, because the discovery is part of the journey. This game also has a randomizer that I tried for the first time in videos last summer, which I really liked. You might like this game if you want to sink your teeth into a big, beautiful world of puzzles and secrets, and also you want to be a cute little fox on a big old adventure. The Monument Valley games, they get to share a slide because I played them back to back, and also because I say so. These are more point-and-click puzzle games with cool MC Escher-style architecture mechanics with impossible geometry, and also they're super pretty. Like, super pretty, some of the prettiest. I'm pretty sure this whole franchise is mobile first, which is where I played the third game, because that's where it came out first, and I'm not currently in a position to justify buying it and replaying it on a computer just for completionism's sake. I promise I'm being very normal about that. You might like the Monument Valley games if you like short, thinky puzzle games that are also super duper pretty. Wandersong, another beautiful game made with lots of love. This is a 2D puzzle platformer about saving the world with music. There's a lot more to it than that, especially how the game handles its achievements, but that's all spoilers for an incredible story that I will not spoil here today. Wandersong has so much love and charm thrown into it. I've played through this game end to end like 3 times, and all that was before going back and getting the blue ribbon. And the soundtrack is incredible. I highly recommend this game if you like cute and meaningful stories, as well as good tunes. The second Let's Play game I did, Creaks. The previous caveat from before still applies. This is another beautiful 2D puzzle game that also has incredible music and incredible art. It's almost like it won Czech Game of the Year 2020, as well as an award for graphics and audio. Wild. Who could have seen that coming? I love creeks. I love finding all the hidden things. I love exploring the weird little world hiding behind this random guy's peeling wallpaper. I love interacting with all the paintings, and I still adore the heck out of the different puzzle mechanics. The music mixes really well with the gameplay. You might like this game if you want to explore a crazy world, solve some puzzles, and get immersed in the squabbles of a bunch of birds. But now it's time for 2024. Getting blue ribbons is one of those things I've properly sunk my teeth into. I'm making videos about it now, and my first ribbon of the year is the demo for Unbeatable. It may be a demo, but it has 3 achievements, and I got them all, and it gave me a ribbon for doing it. So I'm counting it. This game's rhythm mechanics are 2 button based. The story stuff uses more buttons than that, but the demo is mainly about the rhythm mechanics and the songs. Because this is a demo, and because it's free, I recommend giving it a shot, especially if you know you like rhythm games or garage punk in general. To my ears, at least, I think it falls under the garage punk umbrella. I expect the full game to have much harder achievements that require actually being good at the really hard levels, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'm glad I got the ribbon for the demo all the same. Next up, we have Song of Nunu, which is a League of Legends side game. I've never played League, you can't make me, let's talk about this game instead. This is a cute 3D puzzle platformer about a small child and a big yeti on an adventure. There's the interesting set of mechanics, and the achievements did a lot with those in ways I didn't expect on my first playthrough, which is why I needed a second, and I also recorded that second one, and it's a 3-part achievement quest here on the channel. I will say that this game is very cute, and the environments are beautiful. I will not say anything else about League of Legends, in part because I don't know anything, and you can't make me. Let's keep moving. This is our second and final demo of this showcase, Universe for Sales Prologue. Once again, it has 3 achievements, and it gave me a ribbon, so it counts. It gets to be here. This is the demo for a visual novel set in a very cool sci-fi setting, and you have to play through it 3 times to get all 3 achievements, which I did. And as you can see, it took about 41 minutes total. I still haven't gotten around to playing the full game. My siblings and I have chatted about it being a Cib game a bunch, but we keep not getting around to it. It might just be because we're not really your typical visual novel enjoyers. Plus, of course, we're all busy people, etc., etc. However, the demo is free, so if the premise sounds good to you, maybe give it a shot. Duck Detective Case 1, The Secret Salami. You play as a duck, who's also a detective. You're the duck detective. This game is very silly. It's also fairly short, but it's fully voiced and pretty lighthearted, and there's a designated button to quack. I've played through this game with an HDMI plugged into our television for my family as basically an interactive movie night, which was very fun. It's just the right length for it. You might like this game if you like silly detective mysteries, or being a duck. And now for something completely different. Control. Specifically the Ultimate Edition, because that's what Steam says it's called. Control is not an easy game to describe, but it's an action-adventure set in a funky supernatural government building that is full of evil noises, and saying anything else is super spoilers. This game has many layers, and every layer is very polished. There's bound to be loads of stuff in the game I didn't see, even though I had to do an absurd amount of grinding and exploring for some of those achievements. In short, this game is really good, and does some wonderful things with storytelling and medium, so if you're looking for a huge narrative action game, the Thunder Song might just distort you. Alright, time for Let's Play game number 3, The Last Campfire. This is a cute little 3D puzzle game that feels like playing through a storybook in the best way possible. You're this little ember, reigniting your fellow lost embers, and also there's all these side characters and they're super charming. Sitting down to play this game for videos was very comforting for me. Yes, it's on the simple side of games, but not all games need to be super complicated. I like how this game did its puzzles, and its characters, and its art style especially. If you're looking for a cute puzzle game full of cute little fellas, I recommend this one a lot. Cocoon. This is a game I love, and all my siblings love, because this was a Cib game, book club game, and we got through it in less than a week. It's a puzzle game, and it's beautiful, and it's engaging, and it won Indie Game of the Year 2023. There was a surprising amount of hidden stuff in this game, and while we didn't need to look up any puzzles to get to the ending, we did look up some stuff for some achievements and whatever the secret ending has going on. But it's still really good, and it might have altered our vocabulary for the foreseeable future. If you want to play a fun and engaging and brain-breaking puzzle game, I highly recommend Cocoon. It slaps. It's great. Sheepy! This is a special little game. A tiny 2D platformer, it's free, and it's beautiful. It's also a game that I played on controller, which is something I almost never do, but Steam really said I should do it, so I did. Steam also said that it has 30 achievements, like when you click on the game, the 30 achievements show up and the ribbon shows up. But in the library screen, it says it has 0, which is really weird, but I got all 30, including beating the whole game without dying, so I say it counts, so I'm including it. Sheepy is a game where you're this little stuffed sheep, and it's a post-apocalypse, and you get to find out why. The pixel art is beautiful, and the audio design is also really good. You might like this game if you like little 2D platformers, or really pretty art, or being a little sheep on an adventure, or all of the above. Semblance, another 2D platformer, one that I owned for years before being able to finish it, because my old laptop had a broken left arrow key, and this game doesn't have native key rebinding. So once I got a working left arrow key, and also a plug-in keyboard, I was able to finally beat yet another orb game. This is a puzzly platformer where you reshape the terrain to solve the puzzles. It's very clever, and I like the simple, rounded art style, and also the purples and greens, because those are some of my favorite colors. I used a few guides because some of the collectibles were very well hidden, but I wouldn't say this game is incredibly difficult. You might like it if you like 2D puzzle platformers, but make sure your arrow keys work first, or you know how to do non-native key rebinding, which I don't know how to do. Yeah. The Looker. The Looker is a parody of The Witness, which is a game that I have tried bravely to beat twice in my life on my old Epic account. We'll get to why it's not in the slideshow later. I never got far enough in it to get to the weird stuff because I am not good at The Witness or its puzzles. However, I was able to 100% The Looker, as it is much shorter, much sillier, and I would argue way easier. Even though I went back for a few achievements related to minigame high scores, this game is still incredibly concise, and the more you know about puzzle games like The Witness, the more jokes you will get. This is a very silly game, and it's free, which is always nice. And now for another free game, We Were Here, or We Were Here 1, the first one. You get it. This is a co-op communication-based escape room game, where you're supposed to talk over in-game walkie-talkies, but for some reason they kept breaking for us. The Fear Escape and I played through this game together on our channels and got the ribbon together because this is a co-op exclusive experience, meaning you cannot do it alone. And also, getting the ribbon for this one requires playing through the whole game as both roles, and also playing a full, deathless, perfect game, which was a lot, but we did it. You might like this game if you and a friend want to play a co-op puzzle game together, but fair warning, you'll likely want an external communication tool, like a phone call or something, because the in-game tool can break a lot. And now for something completely different, except like a lot of games from way earlier. Town Frame is a tiny little puzzle game about reconstructing people's memories of their childhood towns. It has exactly one achievement, which is to beat the game, which I did in one sitting. This is the epitome of a 1 out of 5 from that scale from earlier. That being said, it's still very enjoyable and quite cozy. If you like cute little point-and-click puzzle games, you will probably like Town Frame. It is very charming, and it's clearly made with lots of love. Let's play game number 4, Chance of Senar, which I hope I've been pronouncing correctly, but I suppose it's too late now. Chance of Senar is a puzzle game about language and translation. This was going to be a Cib game, before I was instead highly encouraged to play it blind on my channel. I do not regret that one bit. It was really good, and it was even better going in fully blind, and I really enjoyed making videos on it too. I really like how this game presents its information and all the little details that tie everything together. I also like that it lets you pet a cat, but that's mostly irrelevant to everything else. You will probably like this game if you like language and world building and also devious little puzzles. And last for 2024, we have the Golden Idol games, both the Case of the Golden Idol and the Rise of the Golden Idol. Technically, I didn't ribbon them back to back, but that's because they added more levels and therefore more achievements to Rise over the course of this past year. But I played the main games back to back over the course of about a week and 2 airplane flights. The Golden Idol games are murder mystery games, lots of little murders tying together a larger conspiracy or two. These were both SIB games through and through. We never played through a level alone. I highly recommend doing this with a mystery game sometime. It's very fun. These games are also the reason there was a maybe column on the DLC requirement graphs, because depending on the menu I was looking at, the ribbon would appear and disappear before I'd beaten all the DLCs. Also, I feel it's important to note that I did a very small amount of playtesting for the second game, and because of that, the devs gave me a full copy of the first game for free, so do with that information what you will. But I genuinely love both of these games, and I recommend them to any mystery game fan. And now, finally, for 2025. Starting with Awaria, a game that I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing correctly. Maybe. Anyway, this game is free, relatively short, bullet hell thingy? I'm not someone who plays these kinds of games very often, but it's kind of like an action puzzle game to me, so I went and beat it on normal, and then I struggled for a while, and then I beat it on hard. There's not a whole lot of story, but the story that is there is about kissing ghosts, and overall it's very silly while also being very difficult. If you like difficult games and don't mind the kissing ghosts bit, you might like this game. It's also free, so no cost to try it to see if you hate it. You'll probably know if you'll like it within the first 20 minutes or so. Oh dear, I've been kind of dreading talking about this one. Okay, so the Carmen Sandiego franchise has existed for a while, and it's a franchise I happen to be rather attached to. And then this game came out, and I really wanted it to be something that it isn't. I elaborated more of my feelings about that in my Achievement Quest video, but to keep it brief, I will leave it at that for here. Also, as of reading the script, the full campaign is still not out yet, and it's nearly 2026. I don't want to say mean things about this game, or its development process, or decisions, or any of that, especially since it's not complete, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that you can play the game on mobile devices for free if you have a Netflix account, and leave it at that. And now for something completely different! Hidden in My Paradise. This is just a hidden object game. It was in a bundle with Town Frame, and I knew I wanted Town Frame, and I was feeling nostalgic for the old I Spy games, living in CDs in a drawer for the Windows, 3000? Anyway, this game is very simple. You find things, and you click on them. Something that I thought was pretty unique was you can drag and drop scenery objects around to make it easier to, check off areas you've already looked at. Plus, there's a set up a picture mechanic that lets you set up cute little scenes. Some of the achievements required making and playing player-made content, which was very straightforward, if a little clunky. But if you're looking for a cute hidden object game, and you don't mind a few scuffs around the edges, you might like this game. Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. This is a steampunk 2D platforming Metroidvania that was a bit of a SIB game, not with as many siblings as usual, just 2 of us this time around. It's on the easier side, and the shorter side when it comes to Metroidvanias, which is fine by me. I liked the platforming and I liked the collectible hunting, especially since one of the collectible types is just rescuing a bunch of lost corgis. Corgis. Absolutely incredible, no notes. You play as this bounty hunter lady who ends up with weird magic powers and you get to topple a government about it. That part was really fun. The pixel art, really good. And I thought the music and overall sound design tied a lot of the game together. If you're looking for a shorter, simpler, steampunkier Metroidvania, you might like this game. Duck Detective Case 2, The Ghost of Glamping. This one doesn't get to share with Game 1 because I did not play them back-to-back in the slightest. However, the gameplay and vibes are pretty much the same. It's a very standard sequel, and I'm a big fan. If you played and liked the first game, you'll like the second, too. They're both very charming and clearly made with lots of love. This game also makes a great pseudo-movie night as well. And now it is time for Tactical Breach Wizards. I love this game so much. So do all my siblings, even though we didn't all play it at the same time. This is a turn-based tactics game with tactically breaching wizards. It's also a game with an incredible story and incredible dialogue. I have so many screenshots of just funny things that characters said. The achievements are pretty nasty, but that's because of the puzzles and not because of any grind. Also, I believe you can do most of the achievements on any difficulty, and you'll never need to make a second save file to get any of them. If you like good narrative and/or turn-based tactics games, you will probably like Tactical Breach Wizards. My siblings got 1 approval star each for this video, and they all chose to put it on this game. Take with that what you will. Mind Over Magnet, another short and cute puzzle platformer. The guy who made this game, Game Maker's Toolkit on YouTube, did a whole video series about how he made this game. So if you or anyone you know is interested in video game development, there's the videos he made, and there's also the in-game commentary you unlock after beating the game. Mind Over Magnet was cute and interesting without the added game dev commentary, of course, but I found the commentary added a lot to my personal experience with the game. The graphics and music have so much character and charm, and I also really enjoyed the puzzles. The game's on the simpler end, but again, not all games have to be super complex. If you like cute little puzzle platformers and or game development, maybe look into this game. It was really fun. Ooh, it's been a while since an escape room game popped up in here. Escape from Mistwood Mansion is a game where you try to escape the Mistwood Mansion. I appreciate the straightforward title. I also appreciate the variety of puzzles, the little details you can tell the developers added for the charm alone, and the lack of any time limits. The game isn't super long, which removed lots of potential grind for some of the achievements, which I appreciated. If you like escape room games, especially relaxing ones, you'll almost definitely like this one. Okay. Dr. Lanksakov, the Tiger, and the Terribly Cursed Emerald, a whirlwind heist. There's a lot I would want to say about this game, but all of it would spoil the joke. It's free, it's 20 minutes long, consider playing it, I promise it's worth your time. Sure, it's a little on the buggy side, but that only came up for me on the achievement grind. If you're in for a silly 20 minutes of your life, this game is free and it fits that bill perfectly. Astroneer! Instead of playing this like a book club, a sibling who'd already gotten their ribbon bought me a copy and we did a co-op save start to finish, and it was incredibly fun. Astroneer is a survival crafty game in a teeny tiny solar system. It's very cozy and cute, and you get to befriend space snails. Space snails? It's great. The achievements were a lot, sure, and some of them were a little finicky, but none of them are tied to the DLCs, nor are they particularly intricate to get once you know what you're doing. I also liked the story more than I thought I would, but of course my favorite things are my little snail friends. I recommend Astroneer if you and or some friends are looking for a cute and comfortable survival game. Snails optional. Ooh, and now for the game I struggle to recommend to people, even though it's an incredible puzzle game about stopping murders with time travel. Because it's called The Sexy Brutale. I swear it's just a game about using time travel ghost powers to stop people from getting murdered. And also the music's really good. Getting all the achievements and the secret ending did take a while. No shame in using guides. I assembled my own guide for the video I made about it, and it helped me a lot. And it's going to help my siblings who first introduced me to this game years ago, but never got the ribbon themselves. This game's got a lot of layers and some very fun puzzles, and if you're looking for an intriguing mystery puzzle game, this might be for you. And last, but certainly not least, Death's Door. My fifth and most recent Let's Play on this channel. Death's Door is a Metroidvania Zelda-y game where you're a crow, and you're trying to reap your souls, but everyone around you has other plans. It's very cute and incredibly charming, plus I love the music and all the side characters and all the little details and all the set dressing. Getting all the achievements required exactly 2 save files, but the game is still great, achievement grinding or not. I wouldn't say it's super difficult. And if I hadn't been recording it and commentating it and spreading out the gameplay over the course of 10 to 11 months, I probably would have beaten it in far less time. In hours, I mean, in gameplay hours. But you'll probably like this game if you want to play a tiny crow on a big adventure. And those are all 38 of my Blue Ribbon games. What a journey I've been on these past few years. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's talk about the games that aren't quite on that list, and why. For the games that got stuck between 50 and 99% complete, we have these. Instead of going one by one in detail, I'm going to be a bit more general with these games instead. Also, if you're looking at this spread and going, wait a minute, for any reason, now seems like a good time to talk about the many incredible games I have played but do not own on my Steam account. Here's a handful of them, which together make up a combination of games I played on console, on my short-lived Epic Games account that hates my guts for some reason, or on someone else's computer, or through Steam Family Share, any of that. All of these games were really fun, and they'd probably be somewhere on these lines if I did own them on my Steam account, but alas, I do not. Anyways, without further ado, what games have I almost gotten a blue ribbon for, but not quite? The rhythm games are first. I love hitting buttons to the beat of songs, but I'm not the best to ever do it and probably never will be, and I'm perfectly fine with that. All 4 of these games are games I've beaten the story modes of, including the 1.0 update for Rhythm Doctor that came out after I finalized the crafts. But the achievements I'm missing require beating extra super hard modes or getting perfect songs. I'm simply incapable. However, all of these games have their own unique charm and mechanics, and just because I'll never get a blue ribbon for them, doesn't mean I didn't have fun getting the achievements I did get, and doesn't mean I plan to give up on them anytime soon. Sharing slide space, we have Satisfactory and Psychonauts 2. As part of the effort to keep this section brief, even the games that don't fit neatly in a category have to share. Starting with Satisfactory, this is a factory building game that my siblings and I have played in co-op since early 2020, which I understand was a really long time ago by now, however. Incredible game. When it hit 1.0, we all bought it on Steam as opposed to Epic, because once again, Epic account broke, and did a huge new world from nothing all the way to the golden nut. That being said, one achievement I'm still missing is for collecting a bunch of overworld stuff that as a team we did, but as individuals we did not do. And the other achievement I'm missing is because the milestone counter thingy broke a bit in multiplayer. So those are the 2 I'm missing. Anyway, I love Satisfactory. I'll replay it someday to get those last 2. Probably. Psychonauts 2, the sequel to a game that came out over 20 years ago, and not gonna lie, a game I like more than I probably should. I like the psychology stuff a lot, and this game has lots of fun psychology metaphors and visuals, and also you get to literally beat up people's self-doubt and insecurities. It's pretty sick. And also it's a 3D platformer, and I like platformers. Unashamed cartoon shenanigans top to bottom as well. I got in-game full completion, but the achievements I missed were for buying out all the shop stuff, which I did not do. I'm still thinking about going back for a full new save file with the intent to grind for all of the money. Maybe not yet. Maybe eventually. Also, this is the most expensive game in this entire video. I just thought that was neat. And now for the roguey games. I think they're all roguelites, but not roguelikes, but it's hard for me to hear the difference between those 2 words. I'm just call them roguey games. And also this video isn't about all that. It's about how random chance and getting slurped into a huge grind by the sunk cost fallacy can sometimes be beaten by knowledge of my own incompetence when it comes to stuff like this. All 5 of these games are really good, and I go back to most of them fairly regularly. Also, when I want to get an achievement for any of these, I can make an achievement quest video out of a run or 2 fairly easily, and it scratches a lot of itches in my brain. Roguey games in general do that a lot for me, even when I get screwed over by random chance. Next up, we have SteamWorld Heist, another turn-based tactics game, this time with robots in space. This is the only SteamWorld game I've played so far. I understand that all of the SteamWorld games are slightly different genres, but I like cute turn-based thinky games. And also the robot band steam-powered giraffe, so I played this one. Some of the achievements are incredibly nasty in this game. I tried to get as many as I could, and the last 7 are beyond my patience, and also skill level. Trying to grind for hats is like grinding for shiny Pokemon, in the sense that I struggle to deem it worth my sanity. However, the base game is really good, and there's lots of difficulty options to tailor your playthrough around. Plus, it's got the steam-powered giraffe in it, so I'm happy. I love their music so much. I'm wearing the shirt right now. Okami! Fun fact about Okami. 13-year-old Glacy got stuck on the final boss so bad that I had to put the game down for what turned out to be just shy of a decade. Oops! Okami is an RPG where you're a dog, who is also a goddess, where you save Japan. All of the art is hand-painted. This game is stunning. Although, looking back, I doubt all of the jokes aged the best, but well, it happens. If I ever go back, I'd want to make a whole new save file and start fresh. And I probably won't find it as difficult this time around because I know how to play video games now. If you're looking for a solid classic RPG, Okami is definitely up there. The Metroidvanias! Sometimes we call them spaghetti games, because they start small and then spaghetti out all over the place. For all 4 of these games, I got a 100% complete save file. That's all collectibles and all secrets in each game. It's not beating the entire game without dying, nor is it pulling off the weird weapon combos in Fist I could never figure out, probably because I was playing it on keyboard and not controller. And it's not beating the whole game and under whatever hour marker Silk Song wanted me to be capable of. However, I am still happy and proud of the completion I reached in these games. And in case you couldn't tell, blue ribbons aren't everything, not even for me. They're nice, and they're fun to work towards and to collect, but of course, there's more to games than their achievements. And there's more to an organizational pattern for your slides if you really want to put the Ori games next to each other. I made the rules, and I can modify them as I please. Portal! Portal first. A classic puzzle game. We'll get to why it's not right next to Portal 2 in a minute. But Portal is a puzzle game staple, especially on Steam, and also in my life in general. I grew up playing Portals 1 and 2 on various people's computers and the house Xbox 360, and figuring out what the achievements I'm missing are didn't cross my mind much until I started working on this video. But Portal 1 is a short and sweet delight, and if you've never played it and you don't get motion sick from first-person games, it is absolutely worth your time. If you do get motion sick, you'll get motion sick at this one too. Sorry. Anyway, Ghost Runner! Another FPS platformer, but less puzzles and more cyberpunk ninja slashy parkour. This game feels very good to play, and even better when you start actually getting good at it. I'm not that good at it, but I did get all the pickup collectibles, and I beat the main game, and I thought that was a worthwhile experience. I'm sure the DLC is great, but I don't own it, and therefore I don't have the achievements associated with it. I also don't want to sink in the amount of time I know I would need to in order to get proficient enough at this game to get any more of the achievements in it. I'm happy with how far I got, and that works for me. And last but once again not least, the games that require co-op to get all the achievements. These games are all good. Games designed around a co-op experience, especially puzzle games, tend to be interesting and clever, and I enjoy playing them when I get the chance with the people I know who also enjoy playing them. When we can miraculously make our schedules line up for a few hours, of course, but ignoring that. However, that makes any completionist or achievement-based grinding a mutual agreement and a shared activity, not just my weird hobby that I can do on my own. Also, if they're puzzle games, like the 3 in the middle of that row, there's often achievements for beating the game as both roles or characters or the like, which already adds another full playthrough. In short, there's far more obstacles between how far I've gotten and how far I'd need to go to get a ribbon for these games. But these aren't games I really want to play for the ribbon. That's why I included 3 honorable mentions at the bottom that were also really good 2-player co-op puzzle games that I've played, but they didn't qualify for any of the data analysis we've done so far, including TikTok A Tale for Two, which has 0 achievements, but it is a co-op game where you don't need an internet connection with your other player to play it, which is not true for any of the rest of these games. Also, I barely played Helldivers 2 near launch. My laptop was not a fan of running it on anything above minimal graphics, but it just barely made the 50% cutoff, so it gets to be here. I'm just as surprised as you are. Anyway, we did it. That's all 62 games I threw into a bunch of spreadsheets and graphs and was able to conclude that the games I tend to get blue ribbons for tend to be easier games to get blue ribbons for. What a journey we've been on. What numbers we have considered. What a surprisingly wide variety of games we have discussed, and in less than 90 slides. Did you learn something today? I certainly did. I'd forgotten some of these games even existed, much less how they made me feel when I played them. But that's half the fun of doing a giant retrospective like this, you know? And who knows, maybe you found your next game in here someplace, or maybe you want to go down a rabbit hole like this for your own game library. Whatever floats your boat, right? Do whatever. Anyways, if you're hearing this, thank you for sticking around all the way to the end of this monster of a video. I wish you the happiest new year, and may you always find the last little pickup you're looking for in a reasonable amount of time. Goodbye!